It's been 4 years since legendary late-night host David Letterman signed off from TV. He's managed to get heavy hitters for his new Netflix interview show, but the funny man rarely likes to put the focus on himself.
Unless he's talking to NBC's Willie Geist. The Sunday Today host and co-host of Morning Joe spent some time with David Letterman in the wilderness for his upcoming Sunday sit-down. And Willie Geist joins us now live to talk about the big interview. Good morning, Willie. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. The wilderness makes it sound probably more exotic than it was. It was like an hour outside New York City, but let's go with the wilderness.
It looked good. First of all, we know you grew up watching Letterman. I grew up watching Letterman. You did as well.
I loved him, yeah.
And here we see you interview him outdoors. You go fishing. What was it like to be in kind of that setting with him? It looked pretty relaxed.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was his idea. He said, I don't want to do one of those interviews where we sit in a hotel room and talk. Let's go do something. And so he said, come up and let's go fly fishing. So we actually go to the same bait shop, it turns out. So we met at the bait shop. We got our flies, we got all our gear, and we went out, put on the waders, and stood in a stream for about an hour and talked about TV and talked about life. Didn't catch many fish, as you'll see in the piece when it airs on Sunday. But the best part to me was when we actually sat down and did have a conversation right there by the stream, and just to hear him talk about what he's been up to in the 4 years since he left his CBS show and getting in touch with things that he had no relationship with, like Costco. He goes on this long riff about, have you heard of this Costco place, Willie? I said, yeah, we all know Costco, Dave. You're just discovering, because he'd been so focused for 33 years on his show and winning and the ratings war and all the rest of it, that he missed a lot, frankly. And so I think he's enjoying sort of finding all these things that we already know about, but also spending a lot of time with his 16-year-old son, Harry.
Other than large block retail chains, was there anything else surprising that he mentioned to you during your chat?
Yeah, I think to me, it was fun to hear him talk about the state of late night today, which you'll hear in the interview, the state of our political culture today. You know, he's had an interesting relationship with now President Trump, then Donald Trump. Had him on more than 30 times over the course of his two shows. Always says, you know, he was a good guest. They had sort of a give and take on the air. Dave was tough on him sometimes. And so to hear his view of Donald Trump now, which he says, you know, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, the president. He said, but he also believes the reaction to Donald Trump has been a little crazy too. So he's been thinking about some things, and we gave him a place next to the stream to talk through all of them.
Willie, I'm wondering, we know you're a wrestling fan. Is that true?
I mean, I was when I was younger, so don't ask me a lot of current wrestling.
Well, guess what? WrestleMania 36 is going to be in Tampa next year. We want to know if you're coming to Tampa for it. Kids, maybe?
I will. Are you inviting me to come?
Sure.
Yeah,
Definitely
absolutely.
Come.
We'd love to have you.
Fun piece of trivia about me. I went to WrestleMania 1 at Madison Square Garden, the very first one. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, Mr. T was there, Liberace was there.
You know what, Willie? I knew that we're about the same age. I was also at WrestleMania 1. Happy to share that with you. I got to know, did you ask him about the beard?
That's incredible.
Did you ask
Did
Dave?
you do anything about Dave's beard?
It was literally the first question I asked. I was like, let's get the elephant in the room. What is the deal with the beard? And he talks about it. It's not that exciting an answer, as a matter of fact. He said, I was so excited to stop having to shave every day after the show that I stopped shaving every day. And he says, now it's gotten so out of hand, I'm scared to see what's underneath it. So it sounds like he's just going to leave it there.
That's the same thing Jon Stewart said when he quit his show. Remember that? Oh.
Willie, always nice
have
to
to
chat
shave.
with you. Love your Sunday sit-downs. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. See you Sunday.
Again, you can watch Willie Geist's interview with David Letterman on Sunday Today this weekend. It is sandwiched right in between our own shows. Of course, Ed and I are on from 6 to 8 on Sunday morning, and then we have our news show at 9 and our political show at 9:30. So make sure you catch Sunday Today with Willie Geist at 8.
Yeah. He's really found a niche with the whole Sunday sit-down.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that show. You know, it's really laid back. It's not your typical Today show, and it's kind of that
And he
feel
also
of
does the
free.
podcast. He's got the longer episodes or the longer interviews on his podcast. So it's actually really interesting to
They've
listen
done
to.
a great job with that show. I think they had Keanu Reeves on last. It was a very interesting conversation too. So yeah, people just seem to relax around Willie Geist.
He's had a string of awesome guests. Remember he had Shaq a couple weeks ago.
That was
I
awesome.
Want to Be My Best Friend.
Yeah. I sneak in between the shows and watch those interviews. They're incredible.
You're allowed. It's
Yeah.
work related.
Yeah, exactly. Research, right?